Many of you know that it is thanks to this YouTube community and their acts of kindness and sharing and support behind the vision that we were able to build a special needs community out in Tanzania. That village is called Feather's Tail, and it provides a safe and loving home for nearly 200 children who desperately needed one. Children who were found in the most horrendous of conditions, some of them, and among the most marginalised children on planet Earth. In that community, single mothers with special needs children, many of which were homeless and suffering in extreme poverty, they also find a home there. And due to that, the children who have nobody to care for them, who were abandoned or rescued, etc., they are cared for by the mothers. And there is no better caregiver than a mother who has raised her own special needs child, for they have all of the patience and understanding that is required for such a role. And so the whole model works tremendously well, and our family unit is supporting these children daily for all that they need. To support those children with food and clothing, education, we have to have on-site medical teams, 24-hour care, we have to have therapy on-site for them, physio and occupational and sensory. To manage to achieve all of that, we have relied on partners from all around the world. And for those of you who are already partnered with us, thank you, and may it long continue that you take this opportunity to share inside the human story and make it a little better in our direction. We're forever grateful for your support. But for those of you who didn't know about the partnership program, I just wanted to make this short video to let you know about this. Everything that a family needs, every family amenity that you have, these children need. And of course, we can't possibly, looking after so many children, work enough to be able to provide that in a normal sense. And so partners basically make that possible. If you're interested in finding out more about the partnership program, you can visit www.sharetanzania.com/partnership. Thank you for the love and support, guys. We couldn't do this without you. God bless. Bye. There's so much conflict and chaos surrounding the transgender conversation. And I thought I would speak into this. I thought I would share, because I do not see a very sane perspective coming from either side of this situation. And so this topic's very emotive and very volatile, and I hope I share this at my own risk, of course, but I hope I speak with love and compassion, and that, as is common with humans, we respond with our emotions when we believe we've heard what someone is trying to say. But many humans only see their own thoughts and not reality. So I hope I will be heard, and people will not hear their own thoughts around what I'm saying, instead of actually hearing what I am pointing at with my words. As a man who speaks about God, as a man who followed God to change his life and do everything that we do here in this community, this family of hundreds of children and hundreds of rescue dogs, I am surrounded by a lot of religious and spiritual people. And I hear a lot of conversation about, is the transgender situation demonic or satanic? And so I want to speak into this. I want to share a perspective of observing this from a different sphere than most. To start, I think it's important to establish that we have a base reality as humans, and the vast majority of mankind are disconnected from that base reality. In the fields of science, religion and spirituality, we are trying to discuss this base reality, but most who are discussing it are at the same time disconnected from it. And I'll get on to the connection with true base reality and what that is in a moment. But inside base reality, as we sit here, knowing as much as this, that we are a sentient life form living in this world that has various different natural processes, that inside this life of ours, this mystery, we in our species can point at two defined parts of us, and that is a base reality biological male and a base reality biological female. The difference being the base reality biological female can carry a child. They can, from birth, have a womb, and therefore they carry and grow a child. The base reality male version of the species that we point at with that term male is providing the seed for that, we can say. And of course there are other differences between the base reality female and base reality male. Males tend to be bigger in stature, etc. Males tend to have more testosterone and facial hair and so on. But this base reality is an evident truth, it's a fact. And that fact is simplified by saying in 200 years from now, everybody who is in this world today, when dug up from the ground, will be identified using base reality. Everything else that they have said they are, with the mind based upon their gender in particular, will not be present. And when we excavate the ground and dig up everybody today, we will be assigned one of two base reality genders, male or female, based on the difference in the skeleton. This base reality is a very obvious thing, that there's a difference there, there's a factual difference between male and female. But what we are seeing happen is that base reality males, as an example, are saying, I don't accept that I am this gender, this base reality male gender. I therefore say that I am a woman. Now I am a female, actually, not necessarily a woman, but I am a female, or I am a woman. And what's happening is there is pushback against humans who can see at least that layer, that initial starting point of base reality, and many call it God's creation. They can see it and they can say, I do not agree that you are in fact female, because my base reality, what I can see and observe of base reality, says you are male. And so I do not want to join what your mind is imagining yourself to be, which is what this is. It's a game of identification in thought. But this is not segregated just to the trans conversation, because here's the interesting thing that I see. Those who are opposed, they also have within them a disconnection from base reality. To the degree they may say, well, I am American, and I am this religion, I am Christian, or I am Muslim, I am Jewish, whatever it may be. What we have to see is that base reality, American or European, is also an invented concept. It's an imagined identity. Now, our ancestors have labelled the landmass America or Europe for a long time, and our ancestors have used it as well, but it doesn't change the fact that in base reality, this is just an imagined concept. This is a fact. It's an imagined concept. And let me show you what I mean by that, because we use our words to try to function in this mystery, and they're very useful, but it is in using our words to function in this mystery that we get separated from base reality and start believing our own images in our mind, our own thought-based identities over the truth of base reality. And I would say that men like Yeshua tried to bring us back to base reality, where the thought-based self is not making us meander into states of neurosis and insanity, which collectively humanity is doing. You say that you are from California, let's say, and I say to you, because words are just a mask for the mystery, where is California? Now you begin a game of reference in your words to locate where you are, but it's a game of reference. And so you feel like you know where you are because you are playing a game of reference, but keep moving with the reference to expose the truth. is what I am pointing at that you don't know. I am in California. Where is that? It's in the United States. Where is the United States? It's on planet Earth. Where is planet Earth? It's in the solar system. Where's the solar system? It's in the Milky Way. Where's the Milky Way? It's in a universe. Where's the universe? It's in a multiverse. Where's the multiverse? What is the multiverse? We don't know. And that game of reference reveals itself in science. We don't know where we are, and what is going on. In religion, we try to also answer that, but we don't know where we are, what's going on. In spirituality, we do the same. And so this reveals that you are in a mystery, and the concept of naming a landmass inside that mystery that you walk upon and live within, America or Europe, is very useful for us to function and find grounding inside that mystery. But it doesn't mean that we can develop an arrogant sense that we know where we are, because we don't, even in science. It goes all the way back to the point of we have no idea what's going on, what we are doing here, and why we are here. This is a fact. It's inescapable. Now, when you see base reality, what actually happens is you understand that base reality can't really be understood through analysis. And the reason for that is that you are in a mystery and you are not God. And so base reality results in you being able to see here and now without your personal history, which is a stack of memories and events, and the personal identity that you create with your mind in thought based upon that personal history. If you can see this reality without the interference of language, memory, personal history, personal identity, you will begin to connect to base reality, and their great comfort, love, and sanity in the life of this human sitting here is awakened, is born. You feel profound joy and fulfillment there, and yet you struggle to come back from there and express it in words to your fellow man. Because the true base reality is one of absolute unity, and in that absolute unity we feel absolute love. Now the problem with trying to connect to base reality, which is unity with God, using analysis, is that here you are sitting in unity with all things and with it the creator of all things, and there your energy needs are met. Everybody wants energy. Everybody. And the energy you really want is love, and that love is pouring into you, and your energy needs are met in unity, in the base reality, the real way by which you can perceive the world in base reality. All your energy needs are met, your contentment, your love, your joy, it's met. What we do is, in that space, is we start analysing. And as we start analysing, we create an analyzer inside of us and a subject of analysis outside. And we create a psychological illusion of separation, that we are a personal me inside this unified field of all things, and I must analyse this unified field. Analysis helps sometimes, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, we are psychologically creating an image of separation inside of us. And so we separate from unity, and with it, base reality. That separation leaves a void. And that void is fulfilled by... It's often we are tempted to fulfill that void in this world with things that do not help us. We have a great obesity epidemic and ill health epidemic. Those humans don't want calories. What they want is energy. They want love. They want fulfillment, joy, happiness bursting forth from them. If they connect to base reality, which is to see the world here and now without language and memory, they would be satisfied. But they don't feel that because they're living in this personal identity and personal history. And so they try to fulfill the void of the absence of that energy, of the presence, of the sanity of true base reality with calories, with food, and gluttony begins. And it's a bottomless pit. You can't fill that void with the world, with gluttony, or whatever else it may be. And that which makes you want to fulfill the void with the world is a separation from unity to feel like a little individual personal me in the world. And this is the benchmark, the birthplace of humanity's problems. Now, this creation of an identity of an opposite gender to the one that you biologically base reality are is exactly the same process as a human who generates a nationalist identity. It's the identical process. It's no different. And so the human who develops a nationalist identity creates separation and conflict from other humans who are not their nationality. And that breeds into perversion, suffering, war, and conflict. And so whenever we generate a personal identity based upon a personal history inside our mind, and we believe that this self is who we are, we seem to be running around disconnected from base reality and the love that is known there. We are in a space whereby, as humans, we have one reality. The eternal now, here and now. You will only be happy if you learn how to make your senses, your focus, your attention, your awareness grateful and happy with what is and fully partaking in what is in front of you. Many of us don't live that way. We believe that when we attain something in the future, then we will be happy. And this reflects on the transgender story. Young men who feel effeminate could well be a man that's effeminate. And this is a good thing, it's fine, there's nothing wrong with being a slightly effeminate man. There's nothing wrong with that. You can be tender and nurturing in a certain field that way. But that man, therefore, then goes to a doctor. This base reality male goes to a doctor and says, I don't feel that I'm the right gender. I feel like I should be the opposite gender. And the doctor, with a disconnection from base reality, does not think to try and bring this human and this soul within this human organism into a connection with base reality as a first port of call to find out if this is correct, or whether it's just a game of thought that's going a little bit crazy, as thought makes us go to war, just as thought makes us gluttonize, just as thought makes us indulge in sexual perversion due to compulsion of intellectual want for pleasure, psychological want for pleasure, and that leads to anatomical addiction to pleasure. Thought is taking us there. So instead of taking us away from thought as a medical professional and saying, what is this base reality connection going to bring to this person? Will it bring them the joy they're hoping to find in the future by changing their body? Will it be found now if we alter them? But the doctor doesn't know that there is a way to approach life where you say, I am going to attune in gratitude to this eternal now, because the doctor largely is moving from memory to anticipation of future as the same practice, that in the future they will get what they want when they retire or when they achieve this academic achievement, etc. And so the young base reality male comes and says, I feel female, and the doctor says, right, let me change you. Let me give you drugs to alter base reality's hormonal system inside you, and let me cut off your genitalia so you look more female, and then perhaps you'll be happy in the future. But that base reality male arrives in their future and they still don't know how to be present and grateful for what they have. So now this is ultimately an expression of human desire, the desire to be something different. They are arriving at that different location, but now they still have more desire. So they're still not happy. They're still not fulfilled necessarily because of this. And so when you promise that you will feel everything that you want in the future, it's always a lie, because you will only ever feel joy in the eternal presence of the present moment. And when you get to that future, you will be aware and functioning in that persistent present moment. Even though the dates have changed, you are still, as a point of awareness, in the present moment. And so we are caught in this trap as humans, not only in the transgender situation, but in other areas as well, where we are losing track of base reality, and it shows. Society is filled with corruption. We are destroying the planet because we don't deem it as sacred. And the reason for it is you come to humans who are disconnected from the true love that they wish to have to make them feel fulfilled. And you tell those humans you should love nature, and they agree, yes, I should. But they can't, because there's no connection to it. Because it's psychological. It's a game of thought still. I should. Who should? This personal history and personal identity should love nature. Take out the personal history and the personal identity. Allow the awareness to settle in base reality, which is the presence of the love of God. It's the presence of the generous heart of all creation, pouring forth into all things, and pouring forth is you as well. Feel that unity with all things, and the sacred respect for it comes. And in that sacred respect, you sacredly also respect the energy that you're using. One human will collect their calories and food and their imprint on the world to bring another life into the world. Another will absorb calories from limited sources and from the world to be able to live perversely the sexual pursuit of pleasure every single day. One human's collecting sacred energy to just gain stimulus of the flesh, and another human's collecting sacred energy to express love and procreate. One is creating a selfish ambition, selfish indulgence narrative with the sacred energy of creation, just saying this personal little me here and this personal history tomorrow will live for hedonism. That's what I want. I just want more sexual pleasure. And you can't get enough of it, so you have to do more perverse things, more dark things. And the pursuit of the self and its selfish desires leads to suffering, conflict, and perversion. This pursuit of a separate personal self that's nationalist leads to suffering, conflict, and perversion. And therefore, when you take a young man and you say, I'm going to mutilate you and in the future you will feel better, it's not true. And that's why there are thousands of detransitioners who are suffering. I watched some the other day, testimonials, and it broke my heart. They're really suffering. How could they let me do this to myself as a teenager? How could society do that? Because society has all of these endless problems because they are symptoms of the main problem that we are disconnected from base reality. We believe thought should come first, and it's not true. It's not the only way. There is another way, and the other way brings compassion and sanity. And so when a young man goes to the doctor should say, I want to take you to a specialist who can connect you to base reality and find out if what you are feeling is real, or whether your connection to base reality will make you feel soothed and healed and more accepting with the way by which the generous heart of God has poured you forth into creation. And I am very certain, as with most problems, that when humans are brought to that connection, that most of the suffering of the personal self fades away. Those world leaders who propagate war, if you could bring them all together and lead them to that place, then the true spiritual rebirth, the compassion of God, would begin to animate their intelligence and their speech. But to do that, you have to be able to achieve base reality. And base reality is to see the world without a personal self. For you must die and Christ must be born. And this is a truth. It's inescapable. It's inescapable. It's a fact. When we see the world without a personal self analyzing everything, a new, spontaneous, unpredictable, compassionate operating system seems to take a hold of the soul and of the body's actions and intelligence and speech, and leads it somewhere, leads it to a place whereby we haven't had to analyze our way into it. And in that space, I speak from experience, it leads to very wonderful things that you could never have planned into. I could never have analysed and plotted and planned myself into the position I am in life. Only surrender did that. Only by awakening into base reality, or into the presence and the will and the compassion of God for your life, was this human organism able to be led, and the soul within it, on the journey that that love had in store. And when that awoke, all inner conflict, all need for self-condemnation, self-improvement, all confusion, all need for acceptance of self from self and from others was gone. Because there you are, wholly accepted and wholly loved, and not just verbally as a surface agreement in your mind, but by the actual living, vibrant, piercing, transformative, loving presence and acceptance of God, in all forgiveness, in all gratitude for your existence, in all compassion and nurturing and comfort. In yourselves is what base reality offers you, and there we have sanity, and there we have love, and there we no longer believe that pursuing changes in the future will make us happy. We understand that it can't. Unless you can be happy now, it can't. And so no matter what the self is that you are generating inside you, that self will separate you from base reality. And if you don't know that, you will have problems. Or you will have a blend of illusory self, which you have to know you need, like a nationality and a sex and a relationship identity and academic achievement, and a blend of that in base reality. But if you're standing over the top of others, condemning them for bringing an identity based in thought alone forward, then remember that the nationality that you bring forward is also only based in thought alone. It's just we've really built a lot of structure around that, and the result is still the same conflict and suffering, for due to that we create war. And there is a way to live where we don't need to do that, where we move without thought first, without separation therefore first. For in unity, you are unified. As soon as you start thinking, you start separating from it. And so it's how do you live from unity? How do we live from unity? It's to walk in faith and not by sight. It's where Yeshua tried to lead us toward. It's home, it's peace. It's back to Eden, before we fell into this dualistic game inside our minds. And there, those who wish to discuss these topics would do so with decorum and love, because there are those who do it with mockery and condemnation. And I understand all humans have frustration. I have it sometimes too in various different fields. But to mock a fellow human who is struggling inside this world in whatever manner they are struggling makes you just as corrosive, because inside you you're missing something, and that's the compassion of God. And if you would just come to base reality, you would be able to communicate this better, and you would also be able to stop arguing and start pointing out the solution is bring people to base reality, bring civilization to base reality. But there's not even a conversation about it, hardly. There's a very small fragment of society that have seen this and know that this is so, and know that when you find this, the need to know is gone and the fulfillment is with you. For God is with you. For you must die and Christ must be born. And for you to die, all roles and labels that you have imagined yourself to be must be put down, so that the truth of God's light can be born in its place. That's why Yeshua said you must even forget your mother, your father, your husband, your wife, your brother, your sister. Not that you ignore them, it's that identity does not get in the way of God's love, generous heart that you are expressing in your intelligence. That's the walk of faith and not sight. And that's healing. That's healing for this situation, for all concerned. I guarantee it. For it's God's love.